I guess we're going to go to another email. And man, it's ironic. And I'll tie it all in together here in a minute. Sam from Ohio writes, how concerned are you about global warming? Ohio and the word warming have no relation to one another. When I was a much younger man, and this story starts like many stories of its kind, there was this girl. She led me to Ohio to meet her family. 800 miles from the warm Southland, my home, the land of my birth, to the cold and unforgiving wasteland that is Ohio. When I went to Ohio, I knew that it would be cold, so I drained the water from my radiator and replaced it with antifreeze. Never does it get cold enough here to freeze antifreeze. In Ohio, it froze the antifreeze. My car froze to death in Ohio. I was left with no options. As I walked out of that filthy, degenerate cesspool of Columbus, Ohio, I spat upon the sidewalk and it promptly froze. I walked and I walked and I walked across the barren wastelands of Ohio and watched as the peaceful Amish pointed and laughed as they passed me on their horses and wagons. Down from Ohio, I made it to Cincinnati and into the state of Kentucky. Through the state of Kentucky, I came to places on that interstate that had been cut through mountains. On the sides of those mountains, there hung, like stalactites, icicles. And when the big trucks would come through, roaring and rumbling, the icicles would fall and bust, whoom, on the side of the road. Icicles, I'm telling you, big icicles. While I trooped through the frozen wasteland, a man from Missouri stopped. I could tell that, to say the least, this man was inebriated. That's a real fancy 50-cent word for drunk off his ass. This man asked where I was going. I said, I am headed home to Alabama. He said, you're going to Missouri too? Come on. It was cold, so I got in there with him. We rode for a while, and he began to slumber as he drove, and I suggested to this man that it would be better if he allowed me to drive. He lay quietly there in a fetal position, snoring. As I passed the turn to I-40, which would have taken us toward Missouri, as I came down 75, as I came across I-220 there, got into Birmingham, got on 65, and came down through the beautiful state of Alabama to a Waffle House near my home. And I left that poor unfortunate soul still sleeping in his truck. And that is my experience of Ohio. And I vow to you this day, as I vowed then, that I will never be drawn further north than Tennessee for as long as I live. Back to Samuel from the frozen wasteland of Ohio, worried about global warming. You ought to pray for it. How concerned am I about global warming? There ain't none. The climate changes. 1,500 years ago, my ancestors, the Vikings, grew grapes in Greenland. Greenland is a tundra now. Greenland is a glacier. These things just happen. And as for Al Gore and his drowning polar bears, Yes, the drowning polar bears. How do I know that polar bears haven't drowned it up there for thousands of years? Polar bears have probably always drowned. I mean, a polar bear, it's not like he was a rocket scientist or something. The stupid thing gets on the ice floe trying to get the seal, floats out to sea, and drowns. It's a bear. In fact, I think there are probably more polar bears up there now, just for the fact that people have built landfills. That's right, a landfill to a bear, just like a landfill to a raccoon, is a wonderland, a paradise. So if anything, if you want to help the polar bears, we need more landfills. Conservation is not a problem. We can continue to drive our cars. We can continue to fly airplanes. It's not conservation that we need more of, it's less people. Population is our problem. How many of you, like myself, have stood in line at Walmart praying that one more cashier would come to the front before we died of old age? Standing there, aching, pain, holding the buggy, the baby crying, our food and our milk spoiling while we wait to get to the cashier, while some old lady digs in her purse, pulls out the coupons one by one and reads them. We need lower population and we damn sure need less coupons. And that's all I got to say about that.